sitting on my patio, grandbaby in one hand, and lemonade in the other. Retirement. Let's talk pensions. Pension is a fund into which a sum of money is added during an employee's employment years, and from which payments are drawn to support the person's retirement from work in the form of periodic payments. A pension can also be paid to widows, orphans, and disabled people. Welcome to the MOFPS Coffee and Conversations, where we talk about the policies with the people who develop them. I am your host, Colleen Cohen. Let's take a sip of coffee and have a conversation with Kimberly Humphrey, Manager, Stakeholder Engagement, Pensions Administration. Hi, Kimberly, welcome.
Hi, Colleen.
How are you doing today?
I am well, thanks.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit about Kimberly.
Well, Kimberly has been in the Pensions Administration for over 10 years. Majority of my life or career in Pensions Administration would have been on the payment side of pensions in the Accountant General's Department, and now flip the script over to the policy and administration side here at the Ministry of Finance.
So you have been in pensions for quite some time.
I have been.
And I'm happy that you have been. All right, so Kimberly, tell us about the importance of the pension system.
Well, the importance of the pension system, pension actually is that source of income during your years of retirement when you are now at a point in your life when you cannot work anymore. And what pension actually does, it alleviate the incidence of old age poverty for our pensioners, for our elderly. So pension is really a vital, the most important aspect of income during a life where you cannot work.
Whoa, so it alleviates old age poverty.
It does.
My gosh, you have your pension, Kimberly?
I ensure that I am working on it.
All right, so Kimberly, tell me, are all offices within the Public Service Pensionable?
No. All offices in the public service are not pensionable. There are a few offices in the government system that is not pensionable, and two specific offices are those that we call contract offices. So persons who are employed on contract, those years of service while on contract is not pensionable years of service, as well as those persons who would have been seconded from other body of government, whether agency or public bodies of government, and seconded to the central government. Those offices are not considered pensionable offices.
Whoa, so you had mentioned two offices that are not pensionable?
Yes.
List them again so the audience can hear.
So persons who are employed on fixed term contract. So we're talking about those persons who would have been getting a gratuity at the end of their contract, and persons who are seconded from public bodies or agencies of government.
So Kimberly, now I want you to tell me about the pension contributions. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, since pension reform that took place April 1, 2018, all public officers that are employed in ministries and departments are now required to contribute to their pension, and the contribution was implemented on an incremental basis. So we started contributing 1%, 2% until it is actually now capped at 5%. So we will be contributing in accordance with the Pensions Public Service at 5% of our salary towards our pension.
Whoa. You know, Kimberly, you had shared a lot about pensions, and I'm sure some persons are wondering, am I pensionable? Do I have pension? What are the requirements? What are the qualifications? So now I want you to tell me, what are the qualifications for getting a pension?
Well, there are a number of criteria that must be fulfilled in order to get a pension. And one such criteria is that you must be employed to the government for at least 10 years. And throughout that 10 years, you must establish some sort of permanency. So you must be confirmed in the case of at least your first appointment to be pensionable.
Woo! That's a lot of information, Kimberly. I want you to tell me and the audience at least 3 things that you need us or want us to take away from this conversation that we're having about pensions.
So 3 things that I would want you to take away from this conversation is that you now need to start, now that you are young, now that you are employed, you need to pay specific attention to how your pension is administered. And in order to ensure that when you get to the age of retirement, and the age of retirement is something that you want to take away as well, when you get to the age of retirement, you are indeed pensionable, because if you have not fulfilled the criteria, such as your 10 years, such as ensure that you have your first appointment, you will not be getting a pension. So you need to ensure that those things are in place from now, because when you get to the age, those things cannot be fixed at that time, because when you get to retirement age, we cannot be having the conversation about appointment, we cannot be having the conversation about shortfall in the years to become pensionable. So those are things that you want to take away from the conversation.
Yes. Kimberly, what are some of the queries your branch gets on a daily basis? Because I'm sure the pensions administration branch, you must get a lot of queries, because, I mean, you're sharing so much. And I'm sure a lot of persons have a lot of questions to ask. So tell us about some of the queries you get on a daily basis.
The queries, that I tell you is actually one portfolio in the pensions branch by itself, where we have a team of persons dealing with the queries coming in daily. And what we do, some of the queries actually, and it's one of the reasons why we actually now paying specific focus on stakeholder engagement, because we realize that information and education alleviate some of these queries. And where these queries come from, it's a matter of comparison. So persons tend to be comparing themselves with their colleagues in the public service. For example, you and I work in the similar position for all these years. We retire. Why my colleague's pension is more than mine? Why am I getting less? These are some of the things. Somebody and I have held the same office for the same number of years, and their pension differs from mine.
But why is that so, though?
And why is that so? Pension is more, and when we look at the computation, the calculation of pension, the finer details are taken into consideration. So we need to look at things like, within the last 3 years, have you gotten your increments that you're supposed to be getting? Within the last 3 years, did you got a promotion? Within the last 3 years, are the salary that you have gotten within the last 3 years, that's what we actually average. So the increment plays a vital role in the outcome. The scale that you're on, also the common one is where in the scale you are that actually affects the outcome of the pension. Right. So people tend to compare themselves. You and I are directors, you and I are a manager, but our pension different. So these are where some of the queries stem from. And with education, we tend to alleviate some of these queries.
Wow, I like that.
Sure.
Right. My final question, and I think this is the all-important question, Kimberly. What makes the pension administration branch excellent?
Well, there are so many things that makes the pension administration branch excellent, apart from me being in the branch, of course. But what makes the branch excellent is that what we do is to impact the life of almost every Jamaican. For every public servant, we impact their life. From the moment you are employed, from that day of orientation, you are impacted by the pensions branch until the day you actually die. Because even after you retire from the public service, we have to still maintain that relationship, because a pension is payable until death. And throughout your journey from you enter the public service, it's a relationship with us. And what we tend to do is to maintain and foster that relationship into something that can be an enjoyable experience. So that's what makes us excellent.
What does service excellence means to you, though?
Service excellence, for me and for my team, what service excellence means to us. Service excellence is really exceeding the expectation of all those we interact with, and not even just our customer. Once you interact with anybody in the branch, service excellence is our priority, and it plays a vital role for us, because I can tell you that one of our ultimatum in the pensions branch is to be the center of a center of excellence.
Thank you so much, Kimal. It was an absolute pleasure sharing with you. Certainly, you have shared a wealth of information about the pension reform system in the GOJ, and I'm sure my colleagues are excited to learn more about pensions. So look out for the queries, and of course, I will be chatting with you after this session. Thank you so much. Do you want to share your feedback on the GOJ pension reform? Send an email to kimwali.humphrey@mof.gov.jm. We thank you for tuning into this episode of the MOFPS Coffee and Conversations, where we talk about the policies with the people who develop them. The MOFPS, we are driven by service excellence. If you haven't checked us out yet or been following us on social media, be sure to do so. We are on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and now TikTok. Search for @MOF Jamaica or the Ministry of Finance Jamaica.